All right, again, good evening. My name is David Quartz. I have the opportunity to be a school counselor at Thomas Worthington High School, and thank you everybody for attending tonight's Worthington City School presentation on College Credit Plus. We appreciate you coming out to gather this information as an exciting initiative coming down, starting effective next school year. I'd like to introduce a few of our representatives, our guests tonight who will be speaking. First and foremost, Corey Conrad and Dustin Dunleavy from Central Ohio Technical College. Please stand. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Furthermore, Kim Gaddis from Columbus College of Art and Design is here as well. And our two keynote speakers this evening will be Michelle Brown from The Ohio State University. And representing Columbus State Community College is Kimberly Connell. All these representatives will be here at the conclusion of our formal presentation. They'll be in the cafeteria, being able to field the questions that you may have. Without further ado, I introduce Michelle Brown from The Ohio State University. Thank you.
Welcome. Good evening. It's great to see so many people out here tonight. This is a great opportunity to learn about the College Credit Plus programs, and there's a number of different opportunities for you. The important thing to keep in mind is that this can be a great program as long as it's the right student participating. So we're going to be talking a lot about who would be a good candidate to participate in these programs and what you as families might want to consider as you try to decide whether or not this is going to fit into your overall plan for the next academic year. So, College Credit Plus. It's not really new, it's just a new version of something that has been around for a while. You might have heard about the old post-secondary enrollment options program. That program is now being rebranded and has a few new twists to it. So if you have already been participating in a PSEO program, or if you've been participating in some type of a dual enrollment program, they all come together and they're now under the same umbrella of College Credit Plus. The nice thing is that this is free of charge to you as families. Somebody's paying for it, but not you all. Well, you are kind of, because a lot of this is being paid for with your tax dollars, but no one's asking you to come up with any additional money to cover your participation in this program. It can be something that you do actually on a college campus. It can be a class that is being taught here in the high school, or it can be offered through online education. So any of those options will fit into the program. If for some reason you would like to pay tuition, you can. There is a self-pay option, and you might say, well, why would I really want to do that? Well, if you want to do anything in the summer, that's going to be a family obligation. So summer courses, the family covers all of the costs. There are some students over the years who have said, you know what, because College Credit Plus is both high school and college credit, I don't know that I want that on my high school transcript. So we have had students over the years, not many, but a handful who have said, I want to keep my high school transcript with only high school classes, so I'm willing to pay for those college classes separately. And I don't know if we have anybody here who is not attending a public institution. Homeschool students and non-public school students can participate, and the state legislature has set aside a pool of money for you all. That money is not endless, and at times it runs out. So students from homeschool and non-public schools who do not receive the funding from the state can also choose to do it as a self-pay option. So that's why you might think about that opportunity. So what does this cover? the cost of tuition, the cost of books, and pretty much any kind of fee. So if you're taking a chemistry class that normally has a $100 lab fee, you do not have to pay that. There are a few things that you might end up paying. So if you want to take a horseback riding class, you'll pay the stable fees. If you want to use the lovely recreation center, you'll pay the rec center fee. And if you are going onto a college campus that has paid parking, you will pay whatever you need to park a car there because you're opting in. You could take the bus or figure out other arrangements. So there are a few things that you might pay for, but even if you're paying $100 a year parking permit, that's still a pretty good deal as far as getting a significant amount of college credit. So it really does help take care of all of that. There is a limit. You cannot be enrolled full-time as a high school student and full-time as a college student. The state's not going to pay for all of that. We also don't want you to try to kill yourselves academically because you need to have time to actually do the coursework. So there's a lovely formula about the number of units that you have in the day. This is your high school counselor's responsibility to make sure that you do not go above the maximum number of units. So you don't need to memorize this formula, but know that there will be a limit to what you can take based on the number of hours available to you. But basically, you can do up to 30 hours a year, which is a full year of college credit, but you can't do that and also then have 7 or 8 full class periods here in your high school. So the benefits of the program. Did you hear me say free college? That's a pretty big benefit. Beyond that, though, it really gives you a chance to expand your horizons. Now, you all are very lucky in that the Worthington District has a lot of great opportunities already here in the school. So there are plenty of things that you can do here on the Worthington school campuses. But if you participate in College Credit Plus, you will find classes that just are not going to be offered in other ways. So you can go above and beyond and try out something new. You also will get a taste of what college is all about. And that taste is on the academic side because obviously you're not living on our residence halls, you're not participating in as a cheerleader, something like that you might do after you graduate from high school. But you're going to have an opportunity to work with college faculty and find out what their expectations are. You're going to get a chance to see, well, how is a classroom that's a college classroom handled differently than a high school classroom? I've had a lot of students over the years who've come back and have said, I just loved that, the opportunity to just get a feel for whether or not I'm prepared for that real college experience. So this will give you some confidence, give you the opportunity to know, yes, I'm on track and this will be a great opportunity for my future. And of course, you will have an official transcript that will follow you. That is a part of your permanent record. So you're going to be able potentially to have a fair amount of credit transferring, especially within the state system of Ohio, because we have some guaranteed credit transfer policies. So that can really give you a leg up as far as being able to move forward towards a degree. There are a few risks that you need to think about as a family. And the state is still in the process of finalizing some of the rules. So the first point up there, the financial risk, is still a little fuzzy, But what the website says is that your school district has the ability to ask you to pay them back for classes that you fail or withdraw from after some drop deadlines. That's not saying that they have to charge you, but they may charge you. So that's something you want to be very careful about. The other part of it is that these are real college classes. Whether it's taught here in the high school or it is taught on one of our campuses, you're still going to be held to the same expectations as any other college student, whether they are 18 or 25 or 45. These are real college classes. The pace is going to be faster. In general, you will do the equivalent of a year-long AP course in 14 or 15 weeks. So there's going to be a lot expected outside of the classroom. It's going to be very common for a professor to say, read the next 2 chapters before the next class. So you need to be prepared to jump in and be studying from the very first day of class. If you want to come to one of our campuses, you have to figure out how you're going to get to us. So parents, if you have a younger child who doesn't have a driver's license yet, how are they going to come to us? Are you going to drive them every day? Are they going to take the bus? That's something that as a family you need to figure out. Can you make that part of the equation work? And the credit is not guaranteed to transfer to out-of-state colleges or private colleges. Now, many places are pretty liberal with credit, but there are some that are just like, no, sorry, we want you to take our version of that class. So a couple years ago, I had a student who came to Ohio State, got a lot of credit. I think he had at least 60 hours at a 3.9999 because he got 1A minus in a vocal performance class. And Harvard did not give him any credit at all. That was his choice. He could have continued at Ohio State and graduated fairly quickly. For him, it was worth it. He wanted to go to Harvard. And probably the amount of credit that he had and the fact that he had a 3.999 helped him get admitted into Harvard. So you have to ask, what is your priority? What is it that you want to get out of this experience? And that can help you decide whether or not this is going to be a good fit for you. The other thing to keep in mind as well is that credit may transfer, but it may not actually be the best fit for a particular academic major. For example, I was talking with somebody from our design department who said that he's had a number of people who've come in with credit for U.S. history, which is great, and the students get that credit, but they then have to go and take history of art, which is a requirement of that major. So it doesn't always mean that you're necessarily going to graduate in 2 years if you get 2 years of college credit plus. If you wanted to go into a nursing program, which may be sequential, you can't take the first set of clinicals and the second set of clinicals at the same time. You have to do one in this semester, one in the next semester, etc. So for some very sequential majors, you may find yourself still taking a little bit of time to be able to complete that degree. So again, you need to think about what is your ultimate goal and do some research with colleges to find out what are their expectations, what is it that they are looking for. And then financial aid. One of the things you have to be aware of is that these grades count. Your high school transcript and your college transcript will both list them. But if you sign up for a college class and you do poorly, and we hope nobody does, but that happens occasionally, that grade will then be a part of your high school grade point average, which may affect your ability to earn a scholarship down the road or to be eligible for federal financial aid. There are some federal programs that have a grade point average requirement to be able to gain that type of financial aid. So that's why, as a family, it's very important that you talk about this and make sure that your children are ready to come and be successful in these college classes. So, students in grades 7 through 12 can participate in this program. You need to file a letter of intent by April 1st here at your high school, and then you have to apply and be admitted to the college of your choice. So if you don't apply, you're not going to be signed up for classes. Folks who should be considering this. Number one, you need to be motivated and mature. Parents, this means that you need to make sure that your child really wants to do this, because it's a lot of work. And students who are being pushed into it have sometimes not done quite as well, and then they have those negative consequences of a lower grade point average. So it needs to be something that the student really is interested in doing. We recommend that the students be strong academically, that they're already doing well and getting good grades and have good study habits. I had a conversation with a counselor last week about a student who was a really good student. She didn't realize that in her college class, she was going to have 3 grades: a midterm, a paper, and a final. She flunked her midterm. So that really messed up her chances of being able to do well in the rest of the class. These are not high school classes, these are college classes. You need to be very thoughtful about what that might mean for you. Again, looking for classes that aren't easily available in your high school, especially if you want to come to one of our campuses. There are going to be some great opportunities that are going to be available in the school that you won't have to worry about parking and getting to campus and all of that stuff. So that's a great option. If you're thinking about coming to one of our campuses, try to do something that you can't already do in the high school. That just makes it a little bit more worth your while. And make sure you have plenty of time to put into this. So that means sometimes you might have to sacrifice. Is your senior year in the marching band something that you really, really want? Or are you okay saying, no, I don't want to do that because I want to do this free college? I've had a few people try to do everything. There are only 24 hours in the day. Usually the students who do poorly, it's because they didn't give themselves enough time to be able to be successful. So think through, talk through priorities. What is it that you really want to spend your time doing? Because you know yourselves, right? You spend your time on the things that you get enjoyment out of. So put time and thought into how this might work for you. I am an admissions officer at Ohio State. Before I came here today, I was reading applications of students applying for the fall. And I get asked pretty frequently, what's better? Should I do College Credit Plus? Should I do advanced placement? Should I do an international baccalaureate? And the answer is, it depends. A college course is not always stronger than a high school course. So you want to look at how all of those classes come together. If you are applying to a selective institution, those institutions are looking for students who provide the best overall record. So, a student who chooses not to take math their senior year and instead decides to take the history of rock and roll music is probably not doing themselves a favor in a selective admissions process. Now, if you were taking AP Calc and the history of rock and roll, cool, that's great, because you've put things together and you're continuing to challenge yourself. So, again, there's not a straight, you should always do the college class or you should always do the AP class. It's more looking at how those all come together. And it's not just for admission into selective colleges. Pretty much research shows that the students who are most successful in college are those who took the most rigorous courses in high school and did well in those courses. I can think of at least one application I've read recently where the student had taken a full IB load and added maybe 3 or 4 APs on top of it and maxed themselves out, and they were getting C's and D's in those classes. That doesn't help either. You need to be taking the classes that challenge you appropriately, but that you have a reasonable chance of being successful in. So, my 2 cents on the college admissions process. So, you guys are taking the right steps. You're here, so you get a chance to hear from us about the program. You need to make sure that you do all of the paperwork that is required by your high school and that you talk with your counselors to make sure that you understand how all the processes are going to work here within your district. And then make sure you apply to the program of your choice by the deadline. We have a nice little quote from the Chancellor of the Board of Regents. So let me talk a little bit about the Ohio State program. So our program is Ohio State Academy. It was the Ohio State Academy before post-secondary enrollment options started, and we will continue to be the OSU Academy. It is an opportunity for students either to come to our campus or to take some online courses. We have a very limited number of online courses. So if you want Ohio State, for the most part, that means you're coming to us. Also, starting in the fall, the Delaware Center will not include any Ohio State courses. That will be only Columbus State. So if you don't want to come to Columbus, that means you're going to Marion, which is going to be a bit of a hike. So probably we're going to be talking mostly about the Columbus campus. Why would you want to choose us? Well, I'm a little biased. I think you want to come to Ohio State, but there's other good choices out there. We have a pretty wide range of classes, so we're going to be a great bet for the student who wants to do something maybe more on an individual basis. So some of the other opportunities here on the campus, you're going to be able to do that with your friends. Probably if you're coming to Ohio State, you're going to be taking a random class of your choice of something that sounds interesting to you. The admission to the academy, the new rules say that we have to have admission criteria that mirror our freshman admission criteria. So that means that we will have a holistic review process, just as we do for entering freshmen, that will look at a combination of your performance based on grade point average, class rank, rigor of your curriculum. We'll be using standardized test scores, ACT and SAT. We're still waiting to hear if we can also use PSAT as an option. Hopefully we will be able to do that. I'll be letting your counselors know when we get a final answer on that one. So if you're thinking, May 1st is the deadline and I don't have an ACT or SAT, go ahead and apply by May 1st, take the April ACT or SAT, and send those scores to us, and we will consider that on time. people will all come up to me and say, so, what's the cutoff GPA? And the answer is, there is not a cutoff GPA. It's a holistic review. We're going to look at everything. In reality, it still is a high GPA. Students should be getting strong grades throughout their entire career in high school. So to come to the OSU Academy, we expect that you have been a very, very strong student academically. Our regional campuses, because they are open enrollment, will use the college readiness guidelines that are set up by the state. But again, I think that's going to be a pretty far hike for any of you. But if you have any questions about a regional campus, I'll be happy to answer those when we're out at our tables. Admission does not guarantee that you will be allowed to take any particular class. You will need to meet any prerequisites that are set up for those classes. And you also will not schedule until August. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, we have to put together our high school schedules now, yeah, go ahead and do it. Make sure that you have a full high school schedule. And then when you come to our orientation in August, we can find something for you, and you can come back and drop your high school course. But you don't want to be entering the week that high school starts without having your English and your math and everything that you need for graduation. So schedule something for high school now, with the idea of talking with your counselor that you will probably change things once you start taking classes at Ohio State. So again, I will be available to answer any specific questions that you might have, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and turn things on over to Kimberly Cannell from Columbus State, and she's going to tell you about all of the opportunities that are available there. Thanks so much.
Michelle did a great job giving an overview of College Credit Plus prior to talking about the specific requirements of the OSU Academy. And everything that she said related to College Credit Plus applies to Columbus State as well. But I'm going to tell you why Columbus State may be a great option for you for College Credit Plus. We offer classes on campus, online, or in your high school. We have a location, our downtown main Columbus campus, a Delaware campus, and regional learning centers across the city. And we also offer a wide range of courses and pathways. Our dual credit program, College Credit Plus, students can follow an arts and sciences pathway if they're interested in transferring to a four-year university. You can get your general education requirements in the first 2 years, or you can do a career and tech program. We offer programs in business, computer science, construction sciences, health and medical, almost anything that you want, we have it. Any student that comes to Columbus State as a College Credit Plus student is afforded all of the same services that our Columbus State students are afforded. So you'll have an academic advisor, you'll have a career advisor. We have preferred pathways with 8 partner institutions. So if you know that, for example, you want to go to Ohio State, or you want to go to Otterbein, or you want to go to Ohio University, you can meet with an advisor prior to registering for your courses to let them know that's what your plan is, and they'll help you outline the best pathway for you based on where you want to transfer. We also have tutoring services. We have disability services for students who may be on an IEP in high school and need accommodations once they're in college. We have counseling services, a writing center, and registration workshops. Another great thing about Columbus State is once you're admitted to Columbus State, you're admitted. So you don't have to reapply once you graduate high school and you decide to continue your education at Columbus State. So if you're admitted as a College Credit Plus student, you are a Columbus State student. 'Cause 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 They're not pointing in the right direction. Another great thing about Columbus State is we're very affordable. Our tuition is $135.93 per credit hour. And you may be saying, why do I care about that? Because I don't have to pay for College Credit Plus. But again, if you want to continue on at Columbus State, you already will have credits there if you participate as a College Credit Plus student. And so we're very affordable. And here's just a glimpse of some of the savings that will be available to you if you decide to do College Credit Plus with us. I also have at the bottom of the slide a sample of some of the courses that students take. Again, we have a wide variety of courses and programs, but this is just a typical arts and sciences pathway that students may take. Some of these courses may actually be offered in your high school. Just some more information about how affordable we are compared to some of the other public and private institutions in the state. So what's the admissions criteria for Columbus State as a College Credit Plus student? We are an open admissions institution, and so as Michelle explained, under College Credit Plus, all institutions have to apply the same admissions criteria as they would to an entering first-year student. And so there's no specific grade point average requirement. You must only meet course placement requirements. And so what that means is if a course has a prerequisite, you have to meet the prerequisite for that particular course that you want to take. We look at course eligibility based on 4 characteristics: placement, prerequisite, prior coursework, and pathway. So placement, we require Compass or ACT. Those are the only 2 tests that Columbus State accepts, Compass or ACT. We'll actually take a combination of both as well. So for example, if you scored pretty high on the ACT in the English, but maybe not in the math, and you want to take the Compass in math, you can do that. We'll put the scores together. Prerequisite, if the course says you need a certain course before you take that course, you have to meet that. Prior coursework, if you have AP scores, we'll accept your AP scores as a prerequisite for a course, or if you've previously earned college credit some other way, and if it's an accredited institution and you submit a transcript to Columbus State, they'll evaluate that and accept the credit if applicable. And then pathway. Every student has to select a pathway, and that's basically a plan of study. So what's the process? You apply online. You go to Columbus State's website, and you'll see a link that says admissions, and then you can apply online. You'll receive a Cougar ID number, and this number is very important. It'll be your Columbus State student ID number. And it's very important that you take that with you when you test, particularly if you're going to go take the Compass placement test at one of our locations. Your school may or may not coordinate testing through us, so they may offer the test at your high school. Talk with your school counselor about that. We'll invite you to an orientation once you're admitted, and that'll be in the summertime. And then we also have registration. One of the differences is that we don't require you to wait to attend orientation before you can register. Once you're admitted, we would allow you to register on the contingency that you're going to come to orientation. So you wouldn't have to wait to register. And your school counselor will have the registration forms as well. Our timeline is April 1st, the deadline to notify your school counselor that you want to participate. May 1st is the deadline to submit your Columbus State admissions application. Our application is currently undergoing revision because of the College Credit Plus, so the wording on the current application still says PSEO and dual enrollment. The new application should be available, I'd say, within about 2 weeks or so. If you wanted to apply now, you can still go ahead and apply. Just make sure you select PSEO or dual enrollment, and you list autumn 2015, and we'll still process it as College Credit Plus. After you apply by May 1st, you have until June 1st to complete the other steps of the process, which are to submit your ACT scores and or complete your Compass placement testing and to submit your registration forms. Again, these are deadlines. You can definitely do all of this well before. And then November 1st is the deadline for spring. If you say I'm interested in College Credit Plus, but maybe I play a sport in the fall, and so that won't be a good time for me to participate, but I do want to participate this year. I want to participate for spring. November 1st is the deadline for that. And if you have questions, I'm Kimberly Connell. That's my contact information. I can answer questions afterwards at the table.
We're going to give the college reps a chance to get out to their table so that they're going to be able to answer all of your individual questions. As you can tell, College Credit Plus has a wide range of opportunities that are amazing chances for our students and opportunities for you to explore. They've spent a lot of time talking about the things that are happening on the college campuses as opposed to what's happening here in the high school. And there's also and when I say here, I don't actually mean Kilbourne, I mean Worthington. So that would be both at Thomas Worthington and at Worthington Kilbourne. For those of you who are Linworth students, that's going to be going back to your home high school, so whether that's Kilbourne or Thomas. Again, that's all part of the here. So if I'm saying here, please know, I don't actually mean Kilbourne. I do mean either of the buildings here in the district. But there are a lot of amazing opportunities connected to College Credit Plus that are happening in the buildings. There are classes right now that are already being taught by your high school teachers that you can get college credit for while you're in the class. And that includes without taking the AP test. Some of them are just what's currently being called dual enrollment classes. So if you've heard, you may already be in a class that's a dual enrollment class where you've signed up and you're getting credit for both the class that you're taking here with the high school teacher as well as the college credit. And there's a list of the classes, AP Calculus, AB, and BC. Intro to Programming Logic is actually going to be a new class for college credit beginning next year. Pre-Calculus, there are some teachers that are able to give college credit for that. Intro to Business. Now, Intro to Business is only available at Kilbourne. And then Honors Chemistry and AP Chemistry, those two classes are only available at Thomas Worthington. And that's based upon the teachers and their what specific content area they have their master's degree in, because that makes a big difference in whether or not they're eligible to teach the college courses. So they may have their master's in something connected to education as opposed to the specific content area, in which case they wouldn't be able to offer that class through the college. So if they had their master's in the content area, these would be examples of some of the classes that are currently available or being taught next year as a College Credit Plus class taught by your high school teachers. On there it says what the partnering college is. You'll notice that a lot of them are actually COTC. The Central Ohio Technical College, again, they're one of the colleges that's here today because they have been giving a lot of our students some of that college credit. And it's definitely something to know that that's where a lot of this credit may come from. In addition to the classes that are being taught by high school teachers, there are also classes that are going to be, starting next year, going to be taught by college instructors here on our campuses. Now that's going to include what we call the model pathway. And the model pathway is part of what the state has asked us to do, which is to come up with 15 credit hours and 30 credit hour pathways that you can take classes here in the high school and earn that college credit. And that's going to be, I really feel like this microphone is going in and out. Is it just me? Okay. I apologize. If you can't hear me, I'm doing the best I can. The one thing to know is that these are all anticipated courses. They have stressed that to us frequently, that these are our anticipated courses. We are pretty confident in our year one classes that these are going to be the classes we're going to be able to offer. We're not 100% sure about the order. We're hopeful that we have the right order. But what we're looking at is English, 1100, which is Composition 1. That would be AP Lang or AP Lit. If you take that test and you get a 3 or better on it, that's the course that you get credit for. So that's going to be one of the classes that will be taught here by a Columbus State instructor for students that are interested. There will also be English 2367, which is Composition 2. It's the next course that you can take. We're looking at having Intro to Psychology, Political Science 1100, which is Intro to American Government, and Sociology 1101, which is Intro to Sociology. All of those classes are going to be offered here in Worthington by Columbus State instructors, and you can take as many or as few of those that you want. So you're going to be able to pick and choose. Now, our hope is that each of these classes are going to be able to be offered within your home high school. That's going to be dependent on getting enough students to register. So as long as enough students sign up to be able to offer that class, it will be offered in your home high school. If there are not enough students to register, then we're going to still offer it here in Worthington. It'll just be housed at the new Worthington Academy, which is going to be in the Phoenix Middle School building. The way that we picked all of these classes, and part of the reason that you see on the year 2 classes, there's notes about it still pending, is that we were looking at things that are going to meet the broad general education requirements at as many different schools as we could. The counselors from both buildings literally sat down with the requirements for an Associate of Arts and an Associate of Science, the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Sciences at the main colleges within the state of Ohio that students are looking at. And we tried to make sure that things were going to transfer. So we really were trying to be intentional, like giving you the opportunity to get through some of those general education requirements that you're going to have at a variety of your different campus opportunities, depending upon what colleges you're going to be looking at. And again, please let me reinforce that you do not have to take all of these. You take the ones that are interesting and appealing to you. If you want to take them all, that's certainly your option, but you do have to be thinking about your timing. So you might be wondering how your schedule is going to look. And it's going to be something about like this. We're going to have, for example, in the fall semester, Class 1 is going to meet Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to 9:20. It's a college course being taught here in the high school, so you're going to be on that college campus format of 2 days a week, an hour and a half at a time. And then your Class 2 would meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Second semester, where there's a third class, that third class is going to meet on Fridays, but it's also going to have an online component. So you're going to have your class, but you're also going to have even more outside of class responsibilities than you would for the other classes. And you heard Michelle from OSU talking about you need to make sure you're giving yourself time to be successful, and that is incredibly important because you have to remember that you're taking this AP Lang, an AP course that's normally taught across the whole year in the high school setting, and you're squishing it into one semester and doing it all. It's also important to remember that you're going to be on both the college timeline as well as the high school timeline. Balance is really important to us. Michelle was mentioning the fact that you want to be successful in everything that you're doing. Success to us also means sleep and mental sanity. We don't want you losing your mind just because you're trying to grow up really fast and get as many college credits in for as free as possible. So you really need to think carefully about the courses you're selecting. Yes, you are going to get a weighted grade for your high school classes, but it's also going to be on your transcript for all time. So you have to make sure that you're thinking through all of your options. The other thing I want to make sure that I stress to you is athletic eligibility doesn't go away just because you're taking college courses. So these classes can count towards eligibility. One 3-credit-hour class is equal to one full Carnegie unit in high school. So it's really like taking 2 classes. So if I'm doing both English and psychology in the first semester of my year, then that would be like taking 4 high school classes. Now, yes, you saw on there when Michelle said what colleges are looking for, they still want to see all 4 years of your high school career, including math. And they still want to see you taking sciences. And those classes in our model pathway don't have math or science. So those would be examples of classes that you really need to think about how you're going to work into the rest of your day. You have time. You just have to be very aware of what classes you're making choices to take. Many of you also have areas of passion and interest. Maybe it's engineering, maybe it's band or choir or orchestra. You need to make sure that you're honoring those passions and being able to take those classes in a way that's meaningful to you. But you do have to be passing an equivalence of 5 half-credit classes each semester in order to be eligible. So again, 1 3-credit-hour class is equal to 1 unit, so one credit. Your counselors will work with you on that. If you have specific questions, we can definitely help you with that, but it's something you need to be aware of if you are an athlete. So your next steps, as soon as we finish this presentation, you can start that next step even tonight, and then it'll continue in the weeks to come. You're going to have conversations with colleges. Absolutely, you can use the 4 colleges that were able to be here tonight, but you can partner with any college in the state of Ohio, any of them. So if there is a school that you know you're really excited to attend in the future and you want to see what classes that they have available, even if it's someplace 2 hours away, if they have online offerings and they allow high school students to do that, you can take advantage of that opportunity. If it's a public college, that is free. If it's a private college, then there is the potential that there's going to be a cost to students and families. It is at a significantly reduced rate. So the maximum charge to students at a private college per credit hour is $153. That's going to be the most that a student could be charged. But you can look at any of those private colleges and work with them to find out what their per student fee is going to be. The maximum amount they could charge you per credit hour is $153. As they were mentioning, you have a form that's going to be due back to your counselors by April 1st. The form looks like this. I know you can't see it. When you're leaving here today, you're going to get a copy because you are all here, and that means you've met the first requirement, which is to attend this session and get this basic information. One of the counselors from either of the buildings will have already signed it. It's okay if it's not a counselor in your building who has signed it. You're going to take it with you. You are going to save it. You are not going to lose it. And you're going to fill out the bottom information as you and your family start talking about it. And you're going to be identifying, do you think you're going to be taking classes on a college campus? If so, where are you planning on applying? Are you thinking you're going to take classes taught by our high school teachers here? Great. Which classes are you thinking you're going to do that way? And if you're thinking about doing the model pathway courses, which classes are you thinking of taking? And you can check as many of those boxes as you want. Once you have that all identified, you're going to turn that into the counseling office at your respective buildings. And you have to do that by April 1st. Now you notice in parentheses, I have March 27th. I may not be the only person, but in case you're not counting down the days till spring break, that's it. We're not here April 1st. I will not be in my office. You cannot find me. I will be gone. Don't try to find me. I can't help you anymore. So, if you are intending to participate in College Credit Plus, yes, the state says the deadline that it's back to us and for us to get that information is going to be April 1st. But that's not really going to be your deadline. In Worthington, your deadline's March 27th because that's the last day before spring break. So please, you can keep April 1st in your mind, but when you start looking at that spring break and you're counting down the days till break, know that March 27th is your deadline to get your form turned back in. If you plan to pursue this option next year. Now, if you're sitting here and you're thinking, okay, this is good information, I'm glad I know all of this, but I'm not doing this next year, that's okay. You don't turn that form in. This isn't something you're going to do. Then when you do think you're going to do it the following year, that's when you'll turn it in. So this is your form that takes care of next year. And we'll do this again every year. You're also going to be following the criteria for that college for applying. You heard OSU and you heard Columbus State tell you that you have a May 1st deadline. I asked CCAD because they happen to be sitting close enough to me. Theirs is going to be May 15th. I didn't get to ask COTC, but they're out there, so you can ask them yourself for what their deadline is going to be. But whatever the college is, whether it's these 4 campuses or some other colleges out there, you have to meet their requirements for submitting your application to them. And then you're going to have to do whatever testing is required. The Columbus State representative was mentioning that we might be doing compass testing here. Yes, each of the buildings are going to be offering compass test. So we will be partnering with COTC and with Columbus State to be giving you that chance to do the compass test in the spring to make sure you're going to hit the score to be able to place into those classes to actually take them. And then once you've hit that score, then we'll be able to work with you individually to look at what classes you're going to drop and what classes you're going to keep in your schedule, because you're going to have to really be careful to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to manage all of this. And then very quickly, I'm going to switch through to one other academic option that you have, in addition to College Credit Plus, is credit flexibility. And I know that this chart is really confusing and very hard and very tiny print. It is on the district website. For the Worthington-Kilbourne people, it is also on the Kilbourne Counselor website. But this is credit flexibility. In addition to taking classes where you get your traditional seat time, you sit in a class, you have the teachers lecture to you, and you do projects, and you take tests, and you earn that credit, you also have the option to pursue credit flexibility, where you have the chance to design your own instruction around areas that are important to you, particular passions that you have, and individual strengths. Credit flexibility really falls into 2 different areas: demonstration of proficiency, which is, if I already know this information, I'm so good, I'm not, at drawing, I'm not, that I think I can get through drawing 1, and I could show you how amazing I am at drawing. Then you could try and demonstrate your proficiency in that class, and whatever grade you get on that assessment goes in your final transcript. Again, that's really important to know, that whatever grade you get on that assessment goes on your transcript. So if I'm trying to test out of modern world history and I fail it, I now have an F on my transcript. So it's just something to be very aware of, is that grade does go on your transcript. The other option with credit flexibility is educational options. This allows students to design their own material and their own way of learning it. It might be a class that already exists. It might be finding their own independent study or a self-designed course, and partnering with some high school faculty to do that. And if you're interested in participating in credit flexibility, you are responsible as students for completing all of the paperwork and getting your signatures before you actually start the class. That's an important piece. The actual application is on the district website, worthington.k12.oh.us. Go to the tab for our district, and then go down to credit flexibility. We are so appreciative of everyone taking the time and being here today. The colleges are all out in the commons for you. You're going to pick up, just one second, you're going to pick up forms. There are counselors all in all different areas that you're going to pick up forms from. And then the other little plea that I'm going to put out there is that we do have a career fair coming up in April here in our building. And if you'd be willing to share your career information with our students, we would appreciate that too. If you have questions for individual counselors, you can see any of the 10 of us that are here today, and we will answer your questions as well. Thanks, and have a good day.